to episode number 362 of Simplifying Live with me, Shashank. I'm your host and the CEO of Simplifying. You must have heard how the crew of Ryanair protested by posting a picture recently showing that the crew were made to sleep on the floor when there was a storm in Portugal and the flight from Malaga to Portugal was cancelled. So they basically had to overnight, and because Ryanair has a policy of never overnighting staff, so they don't have agreements with hotels where they usually have crew layover like other airlines do, which means most Ryanair crew need to come back to their home base, and hence the airline has no hotel costs. In this case though, it was a delay. So all the hotels were actually booked out by passengers. Ryanair supposedly tried to book a room, and when they couldn't, the crew used a lounge to sleep on, to spend the night on, and because they were obviously upset because of this, they took a picture of them sleeping on the floor. When the picture came out, it went viral for the last few days. Everyone's been talking about it. How could the crew be sleeping on the floor? You know, for an airline that makes 1.4 billion euros in profit, how could they get crew sleeping on the floor? Now, Ryanair clarified instantly that, you know what, not only did we give them a VIP lounge where they had access to food and drinks, yes, we could not find hotels, but next morning they did not work the flight. They flew back as passengers. So it wasn't as bad as it sounds. Moreover, Ryanair claimed that this image was staged. This photo was staged. No one was sleeping on the floor like that. 2 days later, today, to prove their point, Ryanair has just come out with a video, a CCTV footage showing that this photo was staged. The video shows crew sitting in the chairs, one by one walking over to where the photo is going to be taken, posing for the photo, and then checking it out on the phone how it looks like. Now, Ryanair came through with their promise and have released the photo proving that the photo was indeed staged. The question is, does this hurt the brand or does this build the Ryanair brand? And let's look at it from two perspectives, from the employees' perspective and the customer's perspective. First, the employees' perspective. What were the crew trying to achieve here? Well, they wanted to show with the picture that, you know what, they're not very happy with their bosses at Ryanair. They're feeling miserable sleeping on chairs at night. They're feeling really bad not being put in a hotel. That's what the crew wanted to show, and by putting it out on Twitter, they wanted the public to side with them. And that's exactly what happened. Ryanair, on the other hand, has of late been in a huge battle with its pilots and unions, and the crew unions, which are not very strong. And you know, they've inherently been trying to win trust of the pilots, of the crew, so that they don't go on strike. There have been lots of cancellations in the past few months for Ryanair, which has been trusted because of low prices and reliability. But reliability is not in question. So Ryanair needed to build trust with the employees, and outing them like this, showing the CCTV footage that the employees had lied and they had staged this, I'm not sure if it actually helps employee relations. I don't think it builds trust amongst employees with Ryanair, the brand itself. Now let's look at it from the customer perspective. There's a huge furore. Everyone from GDPR activists talking about whether a CCTV footage could be shared like this, to bloggers calling this completely shameful of Ryanair to be treating their employees like this. First, making them uncomfortable in chairs, and then secondly, just going out publicly like this. But there is another angle which came through in my discussion with my team about this topic. And that angle is, what does the Ryanair brand stand for in the eyes of the consumers? To be honest, there's just one word: it's cheap. Ryanair is cheap. They own the word cheap. They're the cheapest tickets, and they will do anything to cut prices, except hopefully compromising safety. So Ryanair's brand is equated with low prices. It's very obvious now that Ryanair is able to provide low prices because it does not put crew in the hotel rooms. At the same time, no other airline in the world could have done what Ryanair has done by coming out with the video and releasing it publicly, because Ryanair can, because they are cheap. And in that sense of the word, guess what? Ryanair is actually bolstering the brand. It's reinforcing the image that Ryanair is cheap, and it continues to remain cheap. So, ironically so, Ryanair is actually true to its brand tenet here of being cheap and not deviating from it at all. It's the same as Michael O'Leary a few years ago saying, I'm going to charge you for using the washroom on board. He's never done that, but he said it and it made press. Similarly, this is getting them huge amounts of PR, and while a lot of it might be negative, the truth is it's bolstering Ryanair's image as cheap. Just like other airlines, let's say Singapore Airlines, bolsters this image by being luxurious. Ryanair's way of doing things, whether it works, whether it doesn't, I don't think it works for the employees. It might very well work for the brand in the long term just because they are consistently cheap. Let me know what you think. Does this help the Ryanair brand or does it hurt the Ryanair brand? Is this the best thing they've ever done? Or is this the worst thing that they could have done to the brand? I'd love to hear your thoughts on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitter, or wherever you are viewing this. Meanwhile, you guys have a fantastic day, and I will catch you tomorrow. Till then, have a great one.